Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hoodi Fusaka Fork Watch Party. This is Jonathan with EthStaker. We've got a number of people here from the Ethereum staking community joining us to watch the testnet fork. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now, and we're excited to see Hoodi go through its Fusaka forking experience. So let me just kind of outline a little bit about what we have going on here. Who we have. We've got a number of people from the EthStaker team, Ethereum Foundation, and other community members here. So Remy, Paul, Marius, Patches, Hanny, Sina, and then Nixo has Alex and Carl and Matt there. And then we have, let's see, Remarked. Hello to you.
No, I'm struggling. This is Yorick, but I'm struggling with my setup.
Well, I'm gonna start calling you. Okay, all good. Nice to have you, York. It's always good to have a new nickname though, too. Okay, so the idea for this call is we have 60 minutes, right? And 30 minutes in, we're gonna see the network fork over to Fusaka. And we just kind of want to have some fun watching this live and hand out a po-up at the end and talk about things coming up in the next month because I know everyone's going to Dev Connect, or at least most people are going to Dev Connect, and talk about events happening there, but also talk about the Fusaka fork and what's coming. So, and then also anticipating mainnet in December. So we'll talk about some things with that. You'll kind of get to see how this call is like a little more free flowing and casual and not as much like deep dives on each EIP. But I guess maybe we can start with the EIP discussions first. And I think we had Alex Stokes slated to talk about those a little bit. I know in the agenda here I say there's 12 EIPs, but Alex, if we want to talk about just like the couple, you know, PeerDAS being the headliner, and I know like for stakers, there's a lot of things. This new BPO fork that's happening. I feel like those are two that would be interesting to just hear some um, insights about. And if you want to get started with us there, we could do that. And also, if we want to go outside the agenda with any of this, feel free. I think we have flexibility with the way we want to do this. But yeah, Alex, does that sound like a good way to get started?
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple different people, so audio is a little weird. But yeah, so like you said, the main feature of Fusaka is the one people have definitely heard about, PeerDAS. Also this BPO mechanism we have for upgrading blob throughput. There are a few other cool EAPs. I think another one worth calling out is this precompile for the R1 curve, which I could speak a little bit about in a second. Then otherwise, there's like a bundle of EAPs that address different like DOS concerns and otherwise set us up for scaling the L1 gas limit further. So let's see, PeerDAS. PeerDAS is fun. In some ways, this is like finally delivering this vision of sharding that people in the DM community have been talking about for a very long time. And what we're sharding is basically the blobs. So we have this, what's called a data availability layer. It's a way to check in data to the chain with the blobs that people also listening probably are aware of. And it's a scalability technique. The way it works is rather than downloading all the blobs in a block, you basically download different parts of them. And the way this is secure is for a given amount of nodes on the network and the like sampling techniques that we have, every node only has a certain subset of every blob of, the blobs in every block. But in aggregate, the network has them all. And this is how we know that the data is in fact available. This is important for the security of L2s, who are, I would say, the primary consumers of the blobs. And yeah, I mean, again, I think for listeners, the key thing here is this sets us up to keep scaling blob throughput at layer one while keeping bandwidth requirements, node requirements more generally, essentially where they're at now. So it's a way to have our cake and eat it too. We can keep scaling these resources of Ethereum mainnet, which is very exciting for everyone using the chain, both users, rollups, even stakers, everyone. Yeah, so super cool. It is like pretty novel. So yeah, I guess get ready for that. Like one interesting thing is you might not have all the blobs you expect on your node, right? If you're like running a node at home and you're trying to like index or archive all the blobs, PeerDAS changes that. So you only have a subset. And there are ways to like run your node in different configurations so that you can have all the blobs, but Anyway, I think we don't want to get that too deep into things right now. In terms of overviews, so we have PureDOS, which is basically an upgrade to the 4844 style of DA that we've had so far. And that sets the stage for us to scale. Now, how do we actually scale? From there, we have this other EIP. I think it might be 7892, but don't quote me on that. I get the numbers mixed up. But the name of it is what you'll hear is like BPO, blob parameter only hard forks. You're fine. Yeah.
That is the correct number, by the way, and I just quickly found it on Forecasts, like one of my favorite websites lately. So
Forecast
yes.
is good. Yeah. Nixo will come back and show that. But BPOs, so just to round this out, they're a way to basically program, like, okay, so we have the gas limit on Ethereum today. And again, if you're listening, you might be a staker, you know that if you want to change your like gas limit, you have to go and like program your node manually to do this with the configuration. BPOs give us a way to basically schedule similar increases for blob throughputs or the blob limits, but automatically. So the way it would work is once we have the Fusaka upgrade, so again, in a few minutes here with Hoodi, Fusaka will go live. There will be this new PureDOS technique, but the blob throughput levels will stay the same. The way it's programmed then is a week from now, we'll have the first BPO. A week after that, we have the second BPO, and each of these bump up the blob counts. Right now, we're at, a target of 6 and max of 9, I believe. It goes up to, I think, 10 and 15. And then 15, 21, I forget actually. I can go double check if people want to know. But in any case, it's in the meta EIP, which maybe we can pull it up just to double check me. But it's something like this. And the point being is we have a way to scale the blob counts and basically just have it sort of automatically happen in the background. So TLDR, more blobs are coming and Fusaka unlocks that. That's probably a good spiel for the DA stuff. I don't know if we want to get into like the R1 curve or any of the other EIPs.
We probably could, but I mean, would the meta EIP be within Forecast or like within the 7892?
So if you go to forecast.org, basically we'll have a page that shows you Fusaka and Glamstone, and if you click on Fusaka, you can see everything that's in the fork. And it's meant to be as accessible as possible. And so you can see like layman descriptions of all of the different forks or all of the different EIPs in the fork. And this is a new product that the EF is putting out. And so if you visit that page and you see something that you don't understand about Fusaka, please contact me, my team, Mark. Yeah, so hopefully that gives you a good overview of, oh yeah, it's on the
I'm showing it here because I think it's just like some of this information can feel dense, but whenever I come here, it's like it kind of makes sense immediately what it is and what's going on, and it's like really helpful to navigate what's coming in Ethereum. So
yeah, actually, when you scroll down to
fan.
one of those EIPs,
so which in particular,
just the one at the top, the star.
Okay.
So if you look, yeah, so if you look, this is PureDOS. This is sort of like the headliner of Fusaka, and so you can see like there's a description, there are benefits. You can actually look at the impact that the EIP has on you. So if you're an end user and you're just wondering, what does PureDOS mean for me? That little blurb tells you how it directly affects you, and it has 8 of those stakeholder categories. The North Star goal alignment at the bottom is sort of like how it impacts the goals that the EF is reaching for right now. Those North Stars being scale L1, scale blobs, and
improve UX.
Improve UX. So yeah, this is that's pretty much an overview. Yeah, we want to make this as useful as possible. So if anybody has any feedback on how it could be more useful, we're very actively soliciting feedback.
Do you know if the BPO parameters are on here?
The BPO parameters are not on.
Get the meta EIP connected.
The BPO is just interesting to me because when I was reading about this and like finally understanding it, it was like, okay, there's going to be these hard forks that kind of happen without us doing this like planned thing. Like it's really like a lightweight hard fork in some ways for that very specific reason.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just something that, and like talking with some of the ETH Panda Apps guys, it's like there's going to be things changing, like hardware requirements gradually increasing through that, but it's like a lot of monitoring, a lot of like it's happening in phases for a reason, to see what
Yeah.
happens so they can change the BPO schedule. So that's been something new to understand, and I think is really interesting.
Yeah, actually, that's probably a good comment I can make here. So pure dust is really cool because if you just look at the theory of it, it would give us an 8x scaling, ceiling, let's say, from where we are today. And if you look at the numbers scheduled for Fusaka so far with BPO 1 and 2, you don't get to 8x. And right, so we have it here. So what would be scheduled with Fusaka coming up would be an increase to target 10, then an increase to target 14 with 21 max. This is, less than this 8x number I'm giving you, which would be like 42 and 78 targeted max. And the whole point here is like, this is the end game in terms of what we can get out of pure DOS today. But we don't know if that's secure. Very much to your point, Jonathan, around like, yeah, like, we don't want to just like have this knob and crank it up suddenly and just hope nothing breaks. Instead, this BPO technique lets us have a more iterative approach where we could say, okay, let's scale a bit more conservatively just to keep, Ethereum running. And especially once things get on, a testnet or especially mainnet, we have a lot more information that informs, what scaling limits are possible. It may be the case that, we can do these first couple of BPOs and then to get to like the next, set that would get to this 8x number from Pectra today. We might need optimizations at the networking layer, many different things here that have been discussed. So yeah, it's really cool. It's like kind of this nice middle ground to avoid all the overhead of like an entirely new hard fork while still scaling securely. There's very much this meme of 100% uptime that many people find very attractive about Ethereum. So mainnet cannot go down.
I see this little pulsing dot here that says "We are here." Is this thing gonna like move when mainnet comes, or is that, or maybe for any animated stuff we have to actually go to Hanny's website?
Yeah,
Ethereum
no,
upgrades.
so it doesn't move automatically, but we move it manually. So when the merge, or is it the merge? When the fork does happen, it will be moved to after Fusaka.
Nice, cool. I was just wondering if it was like a New York ball drop or something, but we have countdowns for that. Like 16 minutes, I guess. This is actually pretty helpful, Hanny, to have this.
That's good feedback. It could move dynamically.
Probably not the biggest priority, I would think, but but I think this is kind of a nice segue to maybe plug this website that Hanny from EthStaker made, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of got everything pulled together here for like resources on Fusaka or any fork. So it's like ethereumupgrades.org. It's got a countdown. It's got a link to this video that we're doing right now. Yeah, all the information about it. Oh, and the POAP's there. We'll get to that later. But if you're watching this, you probably know how to get it. So, I mean, we'll talk about the specifics, but I think we'll do that more towards the end. But yeah, we have 15 minutes remaining. And is there anything else about the Fusaka EIPs? I mean, I know we kind of glossed over some of those other ones that are in forecast here. And it doesn't mean they're not important. It's just like, what are the most headline
I do want to call
ones?
out this R-curve one that I keep talking about.
Okay.
So this basically, like if you think about Ethereum today, if you go to make a transaction, you end up using this elliptic curve as part of the like signing cryptography.
Which one is this?
And this is, sorry, I can't see it that well. The very last one, precompile for SEC P256R1.
Got it.
Yeah, 7951. Yeah. So there's native support for a different elliptic curve. So when you go to make your transaction, you sign with this different cryptographic scheme, and that's cool. There's reasons we have that. It turns out that there's not great, let's say, legacy support. If you think about a secure enclave in your phone or something, if you do like Face ID, Touch ID, whatever, we don't have the native curve supported in those environments today. And what we do have instead is this other curve, this R flavor, this R variant, SEC P256R1. So this EIP is pretty cool because basically it lets you have this functionality, in a way that you can use it. You could have done this sort of in the EVM, but then it costs like way too much gas, and so no one does it. It'd be too expensive. But with the precompile, it's now very much in reach. And that was a lot of jargon, but TLDR is this now lets you build new wallet features where basically you can have something like a mobile wallet that authenticates with the secure key on your phone. And this should be a great UX improvement for everyone. So really excited to see this one. And yeah, if people are curious, they can dig in more here on Forecast.
Alex, do you know if there's any wallet that will be using this as soon as it lands?
I am not aware. I think Porto actually supports this, and so I could see them having it set up pretty quickly. That's the one that comes to mind. I'm not aware of any others. I think it will take some time, like people have to digest the new changes. They have to develop, implement the stuff in their software, say in their wallets. They have to test it. So it won't be overnight, but it should be pretty soon. And definitely if you're listening and you're using a wallet, reach out to your wallet provider, whether that's MetaMask or whoever, and definitely let them know, hey, I'd love to have the ability to do this, and that should get their attention on it.
Cool.
Then otherwise, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in here that sets up scaling. Is there the gas limit EIP in here? Is it in here?
Transaction gas limit.
Yes. Anyway, 7935. So what this
Oh.
should say is setting the gas limit to 60 mil, and a number of the other EIPs here basically unlock a way for L1 to again securely scale to this gas limit. There's some different things that are fine today, but didn't quite work at the higher gas limits. And yeah, these all go to make sure that that's possible. Otherwise, a bunch of the other ones here, I guess I can touch on 7917. So this one's interesting. It actually touches more on the consensus layer. And what happens today is, again, if you're listening, you probably are involved with staking to some extent. So if you go and you have your staker, you see that you propose a block every so often. And the question is, how does that happen? Well, there's basically this pseudo-random shuffling on chain that determines the actual sequence of proposers out of the general validator set. It turns out that based on the way we do it today, there's a possibility for the shuffling to change kind of last minute. And this usually is not really an issue. I also, I'm not sure it's actually ever happened on mainnet. The chance of it is quite low. But as some of us looked into this, we realized that with some of the MaxDB changes in Pectra, it might be easier to bias the shuffling. And the reason this is important is primarily for people who, look at the chain and try to build something on top of these, the set of proposers. So for example, pre-confirmations. People have heard about pre-confirmations. They're great for UX because again, if you go to use some L2, you click around, make your DeFi transaction, and it seems like it happens instantly. And the reason why is because you're working with, generally a, one sequencer, and the sequencer is just a server that can just tell you immediately, yeah, this went through, these were the effects on the state, and you're good to go. Because L1 is decentralized, there's no equivalent way to do this. But we can start to think of getting it with pre-confirmations, which is a very similar idea where you would know ahead of time kind of who the proposer is, and you kind of work with them directly to do this. So that all being said, I think pre-confirmations on L1 are, there's still some R&D ongoing there in terms of hammering out the design and actually getting it live. But point being is that because of this ambiguity or possible, last minute change with the proposer shuffling, it became much harder to design pre-confs. This EIP is here to fix the shuffling. It basically just removes this this non-determinism, this chance that it could change last minute. That's just gone entirely now. And here you go. Now you have a deterministic proposer look ahead, and that helps you build pre-confs. So then what we might expect is, again, over the coming months, you'd get more people there experimenting with that sort of technology. I think otherwise, they all are either various DOS vectors we want to protect against, especially the higher gas limit. So yeah, that should be a good overview. And yeah, again, the big thing here is pure DOS. So we're very excited for that one.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how nodes look on Hoodi after it goes. I mean, what are we at? I think we're less than 10 minutes now, right? Yeah, just under 10 minutes according to the countdown here. So I think a couple other things I wanted to, I guess, talk about what's coming up, and we can just tease it a little bit, but then maybe if we want to talk more about any of it in the second half, we can. But there's some things with Dev Connect that is happening in less than 4 weeks now. Maybe it's 3 weeks now. I don't have a countdown going exactly for that, but maybe I need a page for that next.
I think it's 4 weeks. In
Yeah.
4 weeks it'll be DevConnect week. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be in that week.
It's coming a lot faster than even I was thinking.
It's less
I
than-
know. Yeah, you can't let it sneak up on you,
Oh my goodness.
or it already has.
It's coming.
So I mean, like, this is the page I go to a lot. There's a lot of stuff here now. I feel like there's
Yeah.
like even the last time I checked, this is like really long. Yeah. What is this day that's super long? Wednesday the 19th. Okay. Well, EthStaker, we're having our event on Tuesday the 18th, so I'm gonna start with just that. And it's a staking gathering. I think that we've had at least 2 of those before in the past. And where is it? I know it's here. Right here.
I was just looking yesterday. It is on there.
Yeah, it's totally here.
There's just so much there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the
there
web
it is.
page is
Oh, there we
there
go.
it is. Yay. Okay. So yeah, you can see the venue we have. I mean, I think we're pretty excited about this whole thing. I mean, we have a cool venue. I'll talk more about this, like why it's going to be really awesome, maybe different from other staking gatherings that we've had before, because it's more than just like a day of talks. It's kind of like a mixture of like social stuff at the end. It's in a museum, which is kind of awesome, like a pretty well-regarded museum in Buenos Aires. So, yeah, if you go to stakinggathering.com or you can go to this page on the website itself, it's like, but we got a cool domain name for it this time too. And we have cool sponsors. So Lido, you can talk with these people that will be there from these sponsors because Lido and Bitwise are headlining that. And then Aztec and Nimbus and Sigma Prime and Rock Solid are also going to have booths at the venue. So it's going to be a pretty cool lineup. And then we have speakers, like Danny will be there, Danny Ryan, Jerome Detishi, Marius, you're on the call here. You'll be there. Anthony Sassano and Ladislas Van Daniels, and then a lot more. So the schedule has more people. We're going to be actually updating this with times. So some of this will be changed, some of it will be more detailed, and that should be coming in like very imminently. But there's a lot of stuff here too. Like if there's when there's events, so something people might not know is like when there's events that are related to staking, we're trying to add those to the EthStaker calendar, even if it's not like over here. You see the staking summit thing on the Saturday, 15th and 16th before the DevConnect week starts. We put that on our calendar. So if you go to the EthStaker calendar, like if I just we're trying to add anything relevant, and let's see. Yeah, there's still time. So if you go to our calendar, I think it's down at the bottom. You can see like anything staking related or like events like this, events. And you can kind of see what EthStaker is up to in this Google calendar that we always have here. So when you go to November, you can see what we're popping in there for things that are staking related. So we'll be adding to that too. But yeah, staking gathering, that's gonna be awesome. And let's see, we're only like 6 minutes away here from the fork. I'll just mention a couple other things that we can get into more detail after the fork. But before we get to the fork mode, I'll mention ETH Client Summit is happening, and we have Sina, who I've been planning this with. We have him on the call here right now. It's a more technical client developer and teams that use the client software getting together. So that's being planned for in the Palermo neighborhood also. And more information about that is on this website, ethclientsummit.com. So that's pretty cool. That's on the 20th of November. And let's see. I also want to make a quick plug for the Node Operator Hub and the general hubs that are going to be at DevConnect, because I feel like the DevConnect team has done a pretty awesome job at like creating this and listening to feedback from last time. Even though I thought it was good in Bangkok, but I think they're making it even better this time. And new types of hubs and new ways of doing it. It's going to be another extra day of it, at least. So yeah, different programming happening there that's at the main venue for DevConnect. So lots of things to get excited about. If you take a look, I mean, you could spend your whole day probably reading this calendar and just picking things you want to go to, but it's a pretty good list and lots of cool programming to go to see what Ethereum means to the world right now.
Hey, Jonathan, Patrick
Mhm.
had a good call out on there.
Yep.
Do we have time to talk about PeerDAS SSD requirements? That's cool because PeerDAS does actually affect the amount of space stakers need on their nodes. So
Yeah.
Patch,
Like
you
for
wanna
this,
talk?
like right now, or we could do it after. I think we have 3 or 4 minutes before the fork, but we could start talking about that now.
Does Patches want to talk about it?
Patches, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. So from my understanding, the number of columns that you store, which is essentially shards in the sharding scheme, depends on how much ETH you have staked against your node. So depending on how much ETH you have staked, you're going to require some more disk space than previously. And I don't actually know. I was asking because I don't remember what the requirements are. So I don't have the information, but I have the question.
Like, is that built into the EIP that details hardware requirements? And it's like now the super node, isn't it super node or something? And then regular node?
It would be in the PeerDOS EIP. So yeah, I also don't have the exact numbers handy, but essentially, the cool thing here is the reason I can say, hey, this lets us scale 8x is because, out of the box, if we don't change anything, you're going to restore 1/8 of the data. That is for like sort of like a full node of the network. There is this aspect to the design where you basically custody more of the data, the more validators you have attached. It makes sense. Like presumably more validators, you're like a more well-resourced peer on the network. And that just contributes to overall network resiliency. So you have this going on. There is this concept of supernode. A supernode, it's not my favorite name, but basically all it means is that you just custody all of the data for all the blobs. You can choose to run as a supernode or you cannot. I believe it's a pretty large amount of stake before you basically are expected to be a supernode via this like validator scaling. So, there's plenty of room, but yeah, I think for most stakers, they'll see a reduction in storage requirements, bandwidth reduction. So should be good. That will change as we start scaling the blob throughput because like the whole point is to have more blobs. But yeah, something to keep on people's radars as we scale.
But shouldn't the overall disk requirements actually go down?
They will at first. Like if you're a supernode and we just keep increasing the blob count, then like they would go up. But again, for like a full node or like someone with like a quote smaller staker, like they should see a reduction.
I think we're just a minute. Yeah, we're like 1 minute away from my count of where Hoodi will fork. So
EthStaker just posted a blog post in the YouTube chat. That's ETH Panda Ops. ETH Panda Ops is a DevOps team at the EF, and they do a lot of testing like with cross-client combinations. And they actually put out bandwidth estimations, bandwidth and hardware estimations and hardware. Is there hardware on there? I can't remember. For post Fusaka requirements, and it's got a nice little graph on there. So take a look at that and read the whole thing because I read it and I was like, oh my God, as a home staker, this is horrible. And then you get to the end and it's like, oh wait, no, this is fine.
yeah, this was the article that made me start to understand the differences between what's going to be required and as a home staker that exactly that. So it is quite useful. Okay, I'm showing it's 53 minutes after. How are we looking here?
Oh, does anybody have like a live? Remy, are you good Panda Ops or yeah?
Take the console up.
I just got ASCII art. So I think we're there.
And it's got a tiger. I thought we were doing a zebra.
This is a decentralized network. Clients are allowed to put anything they want.
Decentralized network, exactly.
I'm showing the beacon chain version of Dora in the Explorer. I don't know if this is going to indicate that it's happened yet or
We have forked.
okay.
And the first block was proposed, but the second block was missed by, of all people, the ETH Panda Ops team.
Wait, so the epoch is 50,687? Is that the one? Is that the fork block?
It probably didn't have enough upload bandwidth.
688 is the new one. Yeah.
Oh, 688. Okay. A testant got that one.
But yeah, so we're in the fork epoch. So maybe just to narrate this a bit, things to look at. Yeah, we want to see proposals on the right. We also eventually want to see finalization on the left here, the most recent epochs. So I think the main thing we're looking for right now is that we finalize this fork epoch, which is 50688. Yeah. So the thing is that will take a little while because we need to keep building the chain. We'll get attestations on chain. And then once we have enough validators attest to the new chain or, to the continuation, then we'll finalize, but that will take some time. So it looks good that there aren't too many missed proposals yet. There's no forking. You can see here on the page we have up, you can see the chain there. It just continues, and we'll just keep watching.
How would you know if
And-
it was forking?
You see the graphic there where it has those black dots all in a row. Like it'll actually show different forks of the chain. Like if a block comes in and it's orphaned, it will show it's basically abandoned. This can get much crazier depending on what happens, but we're hoping it doesn't get crazy.
Mm-hmm. More green over here is good, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it takes a while to know. I mean, when Pectra happened on Hoodie or on Haleshki, we kind of got off the call and we were like, everything is great. And then stuff kind of blew up after that. And so it takes a while to know. Like it can look good right after the fork happens. And then it can take minutes to hours to discover anything that's amiss.
So I guess we'll keep, listening to people on Twitter, I guess, like people post things as that kind of becomes clear.
Highly
That's-
recommend following any of the Panda ops.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 minutes now since it turned over, so that's cool. More green over here is good. I think we could talk. I don't know if there's more we want to talk about with the bandwidth requirements, or if there's anything anyone's seeing on a Hoodie node. Like when it switches over, I just think it's always interesting when you see a test net where people are using it for testing. Like where can they observe, like sort of seeing is believing with a lot of this stuff. Like where can they observe? And would they even see the hardware requirements tick up in some way? Like maybe it's different for a test net, but would there be something that they could observe on a Hoodie node?
I feel like Remy might be a good person to answer that because he is good with visualization.
He's a hoodie whale.
I am, but like depending on the amount of stakes that you're running on your node, the optic will be larger or smaller, like Alex said. If you're like a small home node operator using, like you're running a small stake on your node, you will be getting less resources needed to run the node. Like your bandwidth might be going lower. But if you're like a super node who has to broadcast all the different columns and store all of them, then your requirements will go up.
So that's true for download bandwidth, but upload bandwidth, I think it's actually just static depending on, for locally built blocks at any rate, when you propose, it's just static depending on which BPO fork we're past.
I think
Sorry.
if I can briefly, that's something I'd love to understand from the ETH Pandops data. The theoretical data says that if blobs are completely full after BPO2, you need 112 mega, right? But then in the testing, they're saying you're fine with 25 to 50 up. So is that just assuming that blobs won't be full, or where's the you'll be fine with less statement coming from?
I'm not sure what the exact statement is, but yeah, do you know if that's as a supernode versus not? Like they might be talking about different.
No, not really supernode. We're talking about local building. So in the blog post, it says if you're local building BPO2 max, you need 112 megabit per second up. And then a little further down, it says we tested this and we saw less than 50 megabit per second up. And I'm wondering whether in the testing it was actually at max blobs.
Right. It probably wasn't then if that's what they said. Because like what you could always do is choose to build fewer, if you go to propose a block, you can just put less than the max in, right? So like max gives you the worst case. But you could just put 1, 2, however many blobs in there.
Yeah. I don't think we have clients yet that allow you to reduce the number of maximum blobs you're going to send, but that could be useful for home stakers as well.
Yeah, there's an EIP floating around for this, and this is definitely the intent to have this. Because then, yeah, what you can do is as a like local node at home, you can tune to whatever your bandwidth is.
Ellie or
Okay.
Eli in the chat, I'm not sure which pronunciation it is, but had a good call out. But like, it will actually affect rocket pool stakers and Lido stakers because they're running more stake than just their own. And so I'm curious for any of those stakers to report what they're seeing on their nodes. And I assume, Remy, that you can see this like on your Grafana dashboard, right? The requirements that are going up.
I'm guessing if you are running your own Grafana, yeah, you'll be able to see it. I don't have any access to any of our nodes right now.
Yeah, but like if you are a Lido staker or a rocket pool staker or even like any kind of staker, it would be interesting to see Grafana dashboards and see the difference in requirements that your own node is showing. Over the next 18 days as the old blobs expire, really. Oh, that's a good point, Paul. Do you want to say anything more about that, Paul?
It's just that there's a blob retention window. So as more and more of that retention window becomes full, then we get a better idea of the impact of changing it. But at the moment, what we've basically got is a history of mostly 18 days of Hoodi that was based on Electra blobs. So they're pretty much a known quantity, and a very, very small number of the Fusaka blobs. So as that window gets well into Fulu, then we'll get a better idea of the exact impact there. But in real terms, PDAS, I guess, effectively actually kind of doubles the amount of data because you've got the existing blobs plus then a bunch of redundancy parity data to be able to rebuild things. So the nice thing is that because of the way that we're slicing the data now, you don't have to store it all. And that means that all of the home stakers will have less storage requirements generally. And it's just the super nodes which will actually probably have a increased amount of data that they have to store.
And that actually touches on another comment in the YouTube chat, which is TGPLD said it'll push solo stakers into cloud providers. I don't think that that's the case. If you look at that ETH Panda Ops blog, you can see that the storage requirements aren't necessarily that scary for solo stakers. And like I have been someone who has been pressing on this, like we need to keep it under 50 megabits per second because yeah, there are a lot of home stakers who can't get above that, and that's not for lack of paying or trying. That's because it's not available to their locations. But this should still be below that threshold.
Maybe. So that's what I'm saying. If you go to that drop down there and you go upload bandwidth when local building for a solo staker. Yeah, you see here exactly BPO2 max 112 megabit per second. So if we go to the right, and that's just BPO2, we're not even at BPO5 yet.
Okay,
So yeah, go ahead.
That makes it even more important, like for home stakers to be looking at these increased requirements. And like these BPO forks are separate from forks now. They're independent of the hard forks, and so these can be adjusted depending on what we're seeing on the network. And so if home stakers are falling off the network or struggling,
yeah, so for this is where we'd have a local flag, so you could build less, right? So it should be fine for solo stakers.
Yeah, if there's a flag that says BPO max, I'm going to bring it down a little bit for a home staker. That would be very useful. Otherwise, of course, people can change the proposer boost to just not local build anymore. Maybe not ideal until we have full still, but something's got to give.
you're a very sophisticated home staker who doesn't want to move to cloud, but you still want to be able to publish locally built blocks, you could just run a server that builds the blocks for you and publish them from your home validator.
True.
Pat with Hat said that he fell off the network. His node fell off the network already.
By the way, Nick, to your comment of rocket pool, I did the math a little while ago as to after Saturn II, which is sometime 26, if ever, right? How much ETH do you actually need to be a supernode? 53 is the answer. So it's not that much in the end.
Want to me.
thought it was a lot higher than that. I'd have to check the numbers.
The Saturn II.
That's with the leverage effect.
Oh, okay.
It's 4,096 if you're solo
Yeah, okay.
staking. But Nick said, if you're a node operator for Rocket Pool, you're going to get up there much faster. And this is very true.
Because there's so many validators under your control.
Because you have a smaller bond, right?
Yeah.
After Saturn II, again, I'm not going to tell you whether that lands and when. Your first two validators would be 4 ETH bond each, and then everyone after that is 1.5. So if I did the math right, at 53 of your own ETH, you're at 4,096 total, 128 old school validators.
Yeah, people in the chat are laughing at 53 ETH is not that much. It's $217,000.
Well, okay, fair enough.
This is kind of interesting. Maybe we already knew this, but like solo staker ETH disk usage goes down from like Fusaka. It's going down from what it is currently. Is that right?
That's the sampling. Yeah.
That's this. Okay. But it's really this other one that Thorsten was pointing out.
If you change the node type to custom and put in like 600 and look at disk usage, you'll see that it breaks even at BPO2 max.
Okay. You always like a blog post where there's like a dynamic tool built into the middle of it, right? Adds a little something extra. All right.
Are we finalized on that block yet?
So that's
Yeah, let's go back and look at
That's
that.
interesting though, that graph, because if you're putting in 600 and you're equal with 6 blobs, then Pectra's 6 blobs is the target, not the max. So the max would be 9, which is higher again. So the 21 blobs, we're still at where the target is today, not at where the max is today.
Which is another way to say that with your current hardware, if you stake 600 ETH, you're fine.
Yeah.
And we still get a huge scaling benefit out of it. We go from 6 to 21 blobs.
Yeah, you're still actually well below where the target is, really, or where the max is.
So just noticing this comment here that Mary is saying, yes, we did finalize. This was 50688, right? Was this the one?
Yes.
Okay. That's cool. Hooray.
All right, so that is essentially a boundary of we are either really good or we are really bad because we have finalized the fork block, which means that we have it is now solidified.
That means we're good.
This is the PTSD from Haleski coming through.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we still seeing some of the ETH Panda Ops team missing some blocks. So we'll cross our fingers that they updated their clients.
Yeah, they are running some updates, and like I just talked to them. It seems like there was a lighthouse bug in some version, and some of the nodes are still running the old version, and they are being updated to the new version.
I see.
And it was also, I think, as I understood it, it was intentional that those nodes are not updated.
Right. Cool. Well, that's a good like update to get. just checking our agenda here for anything else. Are there any other questions or thoughts about, Fusaka EIPs, what we're seeing in Hoodie? I think we have maybe 10 or 15 minutes left. So I want to make sure we do get to the POAP, and if there's anything.
I'll
Yep.
do a call out, which is that actually this Thursday is on All Core Devs is the last shot to propose an EIP for the next upgrade, Glamsterdam. So if you want to see a change in Ethereum in 2026, you should propose an EIP by Thursday.
Yeah, so for Glamsterdam, I know that Fossil is considered for inclusion. I really hope the Fossil team can get over the finish line here with the local build bandwidth going up. For EthStakers, I'm ever more keen that we have a way to do censorship resistance, even if everybody's remote building.
Yeah, what would it take to, is there anything that stakers can continue to do to voice support, or is it kind of just like a logistical thing right now?
I think right now it's technical. The Fossil team need to get the spec in place and make sure they have devnets and everything's ready, and they're not delaying the fork. It's just technical.
Yeah.
And if I understand correctly, there might be in the future again a website or a tool on Forecast where you can rank your priorities and make your voices heard about the
Very
different
nice. Love it.
So I remember seeing, wasn't there something like that was like a little mini tool or something, but you're saying it would be baked into this?
It's actually available right now, but it hasn't been shilled yet, but it's at forecast.org/rank.
Cool. The
So
way usually was to have lots of Twitter followers and just tweet a lot.
Algorithmic consensus or something. Yeah, this is the one I've seen. So that's fun. Cool.
It's just comical that you can't fit all of those PFIs, those proposed EIPs on the screen at once.
Yeah. Yeah, and my screen is pretty big. You all know how this is like pretty widescreen. Like sometimes I have to zoom in to be able to see stuff here. But yeah, I like this tool. Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, so Glamps, right, really, that'll be the next one we go for. And I wonder, do you think we'll keep this this is kind of remarkable in that it's two hard forks of significant substance in 1 year. Even if whatever the timing is exactly of mainnet, it's just kind of I wonder what the expectation there could be. I'm sure it's kind of an unknown, right? But you definitely feel the acceleration when we're doing two of these calls in 1 year. So that's cool. All right. Let's see, I'm just checking where we are at. Should we just before we run out of time, should we give the information for the POAP, Remy?
Sure, let's put it on screen.
Is that good to do? Okay. Is it showing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for all the watchers there, this is how you get it. And it's the same process with the airship that we've done before. So it's a pretty cool looking POAP too. We have this zebra here and Osaka and some the constellation with Fulu up there. So yeah, it's going to commemorate this event, and it's through the airship. So you just send 0.001. Is that the number? 0.001 ETH. And then we're going to automatically, it'll send that to your address that you send it from. So it can be sent, and this is supported and minted on Arbitrum. So we appreciate their support of these POAPs, and it's let's see, you can also send it on Arbitrum, and then you can also send it on, you can send this 0.001 ETH on mainnet, Optimism, Base. And so it's kind of, you have options there for that part of it. Cool. Yeah, and thanks to Electropillow for designing this. She does a great job with the art on this and many other things that we do. So cool. And I also want to mention just some cool stuff for like the mainnet fork. We're gonna do this contest again, and it's like super simple how to enter. Just send in your art to the team at EthStaker.org, similar to how we did before. But I'm basically just saying it now because then we'll have a few interesting fun POAPs to give out during the mainnet fork. And you know, we saw some really creative, great options, great submissions last time that we did this for Pectra, and so we're gonna have fun doing that again. We'll also have an official POAP that will go with, so it'll be like kind of a collection, I think, that people will get. And actually, this is, if you all remember last time, I collected a library of all the different ASCII arts that were done for the console windows for like the EL and CL, and anytime that those, and I think I was seeing that more of them are doing it. When I saw like Sepolia go through, I saw that more of them are doing this zebra, or some did a tiger for Fusaka here. So we'll be collecting those and seeing what's out there. It's just kind of a fun thing to see what the teams are putting in there for the moment of the fork. And I guess that would be coming through with mainnet. So we'll get organized and showing what those are and what we know about. What else? Is there anything else to shill for like DevConnect? I know we talked a little about staking, or ETH Client Summit and staking gathering. Sina, did you want to say anything about ETH Client Summit? Not to put you on the spot, but you and I have been working closely on that event, and it's a pretty cool thing for client teams and users of the software to come together.
Yeah, happy to share a bit. So basically, Jonathan, as you said, the goal is to bring client devs together with the biggest users. So you can think of stakers, RPC providers, includes also rollups and various other people. And just so that clients can talk about their roadmaps and what they are working on, and for users to basically surface challenges and pain points they're facing. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of good feedback for Geth and other clients. And yeah, we just actually got some news today that was quite good, because we're intentionally doing a small event, and the venue that we chose had also small capacity, so we were already kind of oversubscribed. But we just got word that the venue can support more people. So if anybody hasn't yet registered, like if anybody from the clients or like big users, we can probably make some exceptions and have you guys in.
Yeah, like the idea is to make it inclusive with people who are interested and have something to say or like learn from it, to go and kind of be a part of that. And so yeah, that's cool. That was a good update today for sure. And then in terms of like I'm sure staking gathering is another, obviously we talked about that. So it's like something where that for staking gathering it is ticketed, so make sure you do get a ticket for that event. And ETH Client Summit is by invite or accepting and going on the Luma and signing up there. So just some differences there to be aware of. But with staking gathering, I'll just want to show a couple things on the venue itself. Like if you go to I'm just gonna like literally show Malba, because this place is like super cool. But like this is the museum where it's going to be held, and we'll be having the whole stage for speakers about Ethereum staking. And you can see then at the end of the night, it's going to be like a social hour, dinner, cocktails. Yeah, that's how big our crowd's going to be, just like flooding the place. And it's going to be able to be something where you can view the exhibits in the last several hours as well. So it's kind of like hitting up a tourist stop that you probably would want to do, and talking about staking and listening to cool speakers there. and meeting the sponsors that we talked about. So yeah, it's gonna be very awesome. Let me see here. Yeah, the art exhibits are very cool, and we've heard from people from Buenos Aires that this is like a top destination to go. Even if you were visiting and there was no Dev Connect, you would want to go to Malwa. So yeah, and they say the museum is closed on Tuesday, and I can tell you that's because that's when they allow special events. So our event is on a Tuesday. So yeah. All right. What else is there that anyone wanted to mention? I think we're getting close to that hour point. So if there's any other call outs or highlights about Fusaka on Hoodi, let's see how things are finalizing. Do we have more epochs finalized?
I think we're probably good to call it. It looks
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it looks good so far. I'm gonna say hi to Evie Mavericks and also Polar in the chat. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good time.